Welcome back to The Sage, and thank you for being with us. Our discussion in this Nigeria is blessed by our diversity. And until we begin to appreciate it for the blessing it is, for the treasure it is, we're missing something. Because when we learn to value that diversity, we are proud of it. We rejoice in it. We listen to each other. We learn from each other.
Another aspect I think I witnessed during this election was some young people choosing to be affiliated with some political parties or having preferences for one candidate or the other, simply because of their self-aggrandizement. And it was so disappointing. It was so disappointing to see some people that I know and respect and have had conversations with, about governance and about life and society, and then to see that the reason you're supporting this person is because you have something to gain if this person is in power. And it was a shock for me. And so I think we need to understand that it is corruption. We as young people, we need to, what is our, there should be a common goal, and it should be the common good of the people.
Absolutely.
The progress of Nigeria, not of me and my family, of my business and my career. But as you pursue your career and as you pursue self-development and actualization, if your country is not progressing, it's useless. There's no, it's not even possible for you to enjoy the life that you think you've built, where your country is, the economy is deteriorating, the society is deteriorating, there's no peace, there's violence, there's insecurity, there isn't power, their infrastructure is not available. And simply because we don't put the right person in government, and we don't hold them accountable, simply because I wanted my pocket to get full for the next 4 to 8 years, and after that, you can do whatever it is you want, or simply because you have plans to japa. So you don't care, your family is out there, or you intend to leave anyway. So I'm going to be tribalistic. Let it be someone from this place because it's our turn to rule. And I just think that young people need to think about something to reflect on, going forward. Why am I being selfish? Why am I being tribalistic? Why am I being nepotistic? And think about Nigeria. Nobody is going to build this country.
Can I ask you and say why do you think there are, and I'm sure there are many people, young people as well as some older ones, who indeed chose leaders and political persons based on that. Does it benefit me personally? And I would like to suggest, that perhaps it is because the people that control us politically have learned to use poverty as a weapon.
Yes.
You see, it is the fear of not being able to, cater for yourself that makes people desperate. What is most important is that I enrich myself now because poverty has become a weapon.
And to eat my own slice of the national cake, that has become so, it's like a mantra for most people. Unfortunately, some young people have seen their parents do that, practice to one degree or the other, this mentality of, I have to fend for my family. I didn't have any other choice. I had to do this, to fend. And then you just think it's the right thing to do. And so what you just said, links to my next point was to, young people's participation in education and enterprise. Because unless you are self-empowered and developed and do the same for others around you, we cannot fully eliminate poverty. We cannot, the fight against poverty, or, government cannot do it alone. We need businesses. We need more hands to lift up people in different areas, whether it be in terms of poverty, in terms of unemployment and lack of education. Young people need to put in more effort in this area. just so that they no longer become tools and no longer tools in the hand of politicians, when elections are around the corner.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that is very, very important. And I will ask all our young people, all of you, to think about it. Because a lot of the political juggernauts who want to control target young people, being able to give them money, to coerce them, So what to do to reduce that? What to do to empower, young people so that they're more equipped to say no?
Yes.
Yes. It's so important going forward. Yeah.
That you are poor, or you don't have a job, or life is difficult, doesn't legitimize crime or vice of any form. As Africans, we are people of value, we are people of culture, we are people of tradition, we have a way of life. It doesn't matter if you are rich or you are poor. You hold on to the values that make you African. There's no amount of suit I'm going to wear that will make me a white man. There's no amount of agbada a white man is going to wear that will make him a Nigerian. So what makes us Africans? What makes us Nigerians? First is our values, our culture, our way of life. And in every ethnic group in this country, there is next to zero tolerance for vices, for crimes, for lies, for dishonesty. It doesn't sit in any African culture. It doesn't sit in any of our way of life. So if today you are gone to school or you are of age, you don't have a job, no, it is not an excuse to join forces with people who want to take what is for the common good. And so my call for young people who feel that, because I'm in this condition at the moment, you may sit down there and say, because he's in the studio, so he's saying all this thing, but that is the truth. We can't change that. If you sit and look at it, the proceeds you get from crime would really not take you anywhere anyway. If you take money for elections, you said you want pockets full. At the end of the day, the money they give you is not enough to take you home.
It doesn't
fill your pocket.
In bag of Indomie,
and before you get home, and we are talking about another 4 years, because you're not going to see this person again until another 4 years. He will sit down with you now and tell you many good things. Just wait. He wins election, gets into office. The array of security men you will see. You may not, after the first one, you just go back home and wait for another 4 years to see him again. This has happened over time. And I'm happy that majority, of course, we don't have all the young people on board yet, but majority have seen that this status quo has to change. It is not working for us. Let us ask the questions. If it's good, if we have the common good, then we'll all be fine. If you're a rich man and all your friends are poor, you're a poor man. So don't think that only you get...
You're a lonely man.
You're going lonely man. You still be poor because you are lonely, you're poor. So you can't even sleep well because everybody around your neighborhood is looking for what to eat, and if you have food in your house, you are not safe. So at the end of the day, I think we should work for what is common to all of us, the good for the common good, and we can live a life, the African life, where we don't have fences, where there are no demarcations. Children can run across compounds and play till night. Yeah. Then even if you miss your way, the next neighbor will come and bring your baby. See, this baby belongs to this family. But now we can't do that now. We have barbed wires, we have electric wires, we have everything trying to protect ourselves because we have taken what is good, what is of the common good, and made it personal and private. And now you're no longer safe. So it doesn't work. It's not going to help us. We should look out for the common good, and we'll have a serene environment where to live a life which God himself wants us to live.
Yeah. You were going to ask
something?
I
was going to say that I think going back to communal living, despite the insecurity, despite the modernization of society, but I think the thought behind it, the values behind communal living, like you said, getting lost. I got lost as a child, because I used to play a lot. So I'll go around people always brought me back. And how I remember my mom telling me how that someone brought me back. They could tell it was me, and because of a birthmark I had. But they brought me back to the house, and it was an open space. Everybody just plays, goes to church together, goes to school together, goes to market together. But as against now, now I pity the young children because they can't even come out to play. They don't know their way around. They're so caged. So, and then you can't, unlike then, you could talk to parents and aunties and uncles around, could correct a child. Now you watch like, can I or can I not? You're not sure. So we've sort of just become so me, myself, and I, and that is translating into different areas of our lives. So yeah, going back, sort of reminding ourselves of our values as Nigerians, as Africans, and promoting our culture. I think that's very important.
So true. But before I move on to a few other areas left, let me turn to you as young people and say, as you think about the way forward and where young people should intervene strategically, what about the arts? What do you think is your role, the role of young people in using arts for positivity in this country?
You see, the music industry in Nigeria, for instance, is one sector that has done very well.
Honestly.
That has put Nigeria on the map, right? But we have a problem in that place. The contents of the music industry, of the movie industry, to a very large extent, are beginning to depict cultures that are alien to us. So there is need for those big players in our entertainment industry in particular to look at the projections, the contents they put out there. Because we are now in a society where nudity is becoming, it's no longer, there's nothing sacred. In fact, somebody will now say the only private parts of the body now is the intestine and the kidney. Those are the only private parts. Every other part.
The ones that are intra-abdominal. I speak as a doctor now. Within your abdomen.
And every other thing. But that is alien. That is not really the life we want to be living now. Perhaps let us begin. You see a lot of content throwing money, living big lives, showing big mansions, throwing monies around. So the young man who is looking at, the very young child who is looking at these things, this is how the life should be.
Yes.
Driving big cars, luxurious cars and all that. They have not told us in that content how they made this money. They didn't tell us in this content how this man got this house, got this car. The next thing this young soul is thinking is, how do I drive this kind of car? How do I make this kind of money? And so he's tilting towards more crime. It isn't more to crime than
innovation,
innovation,
creativity, and hard work.
So, for me, let's the young people who are really involved in this sector begin to take values back into this place, because to a very large extent, you drive thoughts, you mold minds by the contents you put out there. So, and I'm saying that let us challenge the young people with your content. When someone look at it and begin to think, oh, what can I do? How do I solve this problem? There are a lot of problems in Nigeria that needs some little sense, some little creativity to solve it. But if you are not focusing on that, and we are busy throwing around money, mansions and big cars, we will not be building the Nigeria we want to have. We will not be developing the country we were proud of. Rather, let us put into our content those things that build the morals of our country, those things that strikes the hearts of men. So so that we can develop our economy, and really people can now legitimately build such mansions. But we have a problem there, and it is up to us, because we're not just talking about politics now. We're talking about building a nation which we can be proud of, we can live in. And that aspect is one very fundamental aspect that needs a lot of action. Something football does. When we are watching football in Nigeria, it doesn't matter your tribe, it doesn't matter where you come from. Everybody collapses behind the national team. You see, Nigerians were so angry the last time we lost to Ghana in the national stadium. They were so angry and displayed. It's not like I endorse that, but it shows the passion we have to when we come together. So when you bring out such contents in the entertainment industry that allows people to think, that allows people to get creative, you see that you would have preached more than somebody on the pulpit.
Mm-hmm. Can I sort of rehone you, because you've said many things that are indeed true. The way a large part of the entertainment industry runs at the moment, because many times, even without ill will, many of these artists recognize the need to make money. And therefore you produce things that you think will sell and people will buy. But I want you to rephrase and relook at it and say, as part of the action that we're suggesting, it's not just an issue of criticizing now, but what do you strategically do, even if it's as part of a youth movement, towards influencing the influencers? I'm using the language of the young person now. Because sometimes they don't mean harm, but sometimes it's like you select goodwill ambassadors because you are selecting them to come preach your cause. So I'm talking about concrete action towards mobilizing the influencers to become positive influencers.
Let me attempt to, because while he was talking, I remembered a saying I learned in my literature class back in secondary school about how literature reflects society. And so I was just thinking about the movie industry, for example, similar to the music industry, and how I think that they have such a huge platform and audience through which they can ask pertinent questions, as it relates to society and leadership and governance and, youth needs and all that. They have such a platform to ask such pertinent questions, to discuss societal issues, to inspire young people, to promote values and culture, Nigerian culture. And so whether it be music, the same thing with music, there are a few artists, for example, who have just decided that this is my niche. I inspire through my music, or I through my poetry or spoken word, I address societal issues. I inspire young people. They think more of their art as a tool, and working, with others on a mission to sort of add to bring impact, to make impact. So there's the aspect of making money, because it's a talent that you're given and a skill that you've developed. But at the same time, you can make impact. You can be of influence. You can influence the influencers by sort of changing the narrative and saying, look, as young people, what do we want to say, and what's the legacy that we want to build, and what's the impact we want to make? So whether it be arts, be music, be movies, there's even business, social entrepreneurship. What am I going to be known for? What's my business going to be known for? And what impact, what am I adding? What's the value I'm adding to society? What quota am I bringing, to society? So I think it behoves on us as young people to just start to think about the future, and not just the now and what I can make now, but the future. And when you look back, what did I do? What did I use my life, my talent, my skill, my time, my resources to do? And how did I impact on lives? And that skill that I had, that talent that I had, how did it influence another person to make impact?
Yeah. And I think let me sort of, I think that's great. Let me sort of couch it in saying, for you to look back and say, these are my talents, my skills. How did I use it to positively impact and recreate my country and my life?
Yes.
And that's and also to recognize the potential power in that your creativity.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And therefore the fact that you are duty bound to use that your artistic talents for positive. So that each of our performers, entertainers, singers need to have a moral conscience through which they operate, and need to be patriotic, even in what you do to make a living. Yeah. So great. I mean, we could go on forever. There's so much to discuss, because when we talk about young, it's being young is a whole life in itself and impacts every sector. We shall be delving more into these various sectors in our subsequent episodes and future discussions. And so let me just, before we wind up, say So we've just experienced and rejoiced over the 2023 elections. In a few words, both of you, can you suggest how we should be better positioned for 2027? Because like we said, this is a train that is moving. We ain't going back, right? That train will move and reach its conclusion. Another milestone, another leg in that journey is 2027. What should we be positioned to do better in 2027?
Okay. I would say enlighten yourself as a young person on the electoral acts and process and the relevant laws that concern election and your rights and your duties when it comes to elections, and basically your contribution to nation building. And so move strategically from now going forward, here on, move strategically as young people, form youth groups, like we said, and participate actively, seek opportunities to sort of participate in what the government is doing, whether it be, for example, like Eric said, going to the legislature and listening to the different readings, sensitize people around you, educate people around you, get involved and be innovative. Be innovative in the way you sensitize people. For example, social media was a huge, the tool that social media became, within this period. I mean, there's so much more that we can still do. So use technology and galvanize people, and let our spirits not be dampened by whatever disappointments, but fuel it, take on based on what we achieved, feel that passion, and say, you know what, we have the power, we've seen it, we've done it before, we can do it again. Yeah.
We have the power, we've seen it, we've done it, and we shall do even more again.
Yes.
Great. Eric?
For anybody to emerge winner or to emerge candidate, for any leader to occupy public office, he has to register in the political party. And the political party has to give him or her the ticket. It then means that a lot of decisions that affect us as a country is being made at the political party, because it is those candidates that will now vote for. Ahead of 2027, it is very important we as Nigerian youths begin to influence the decisions that happen in political parties. And you cannot stay far from the political party and make those decisions, because those things are made within the party. So we need to get into parties. And there are about 18 political parties right now. And we need to get into all of it. So for any decision that we made in any political party, it's going to affect us tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow is too far. It's a matter of, from the time of primaries to presidential election, is within a year. They should have finished all the decisions they want to make. Whatever we are doing in the general election is either to agree or disagree with them, and we don't have much options at the time. So where we have the option to influence issues are at the political party level. So number one, as young people in Nigeria, we need to get involved in the political parties. And like we said earlier, the parliament is so important. The parliament is so important in a democratic system. Before the next election, there will be amendments to the Electoral Act. We need to know what those amendments are about. And we also need to influence it. And those are very important. Then don't leave anybody behind. There are people who are still not as knowledgeable as you think you are. So there is need to carry everybody along. They collect your PVC, get registered, know where your polling unit is. Another challenge we had this time was the fact that on the day of election, people don't know where their polling units are, because there were a lot of changes. So you think your polling unit is in so primary school, you get there, your name is not on the wall. You start looking for where. It was something I saw on the day of elections. So you have to start going to other places to find So the people need to be enlightened. There is need for us to do all those and position ourselves very well ahead of 2027.
Absolutely. And the work begins now, actually, right from today.
Yes.
We don't even have, because these 4 years tend to move very fast. So we need to be on top of that, be part of whatever amendments may be made to the Electoral Act, be sure, that people can get registered more easily than was done this time. But the bottom line is never give up, on this effort. our collective ambition, particularly for young people, should be even greater participation next time round. Great. Thank you so much, both of you. I mean, our viewers will agree that it's been absolutely wonderful listening to you, sharing your thoughts. And I'm sure many of them agree with you. And I'm sure many are also articulating their own as they watch. And so it is no mean task to attempt to summarize such an important segment. Young people, as we said before, are a huge majority in terms of our demographics in this country. Young people are our today and our tomorrow. The country belongs to them no matter what anybody wants to believe or think. You will, as young people, as a bloc, make and unmake this country. That you take over and build a country that will truly advance you and your generation and your offsprings is something, in my mind, you have no choice but to do. Some of us have lived many years, and not too far future we will move on, because that is the way the biology is. But you have a much longer time to stay here. The key messages come out clear. We have done well as young people, as a people on the whole. Young participation in this process was unprecedented and needs to be celebrated. As Eric put it very nicely, we are in a moving train that is moving and it's not going to stop. We will continue to move till we achieve our ultimate objective as for a greater and more equitable Nigeria. One that we can all be proud of. One that treats everybody within the country with dignity and respect. One in which our bounty is indeed a common bounty. There's no turning back. Work continues from today. Next time round, young people will participate even more and will make sure that what they need and what they want indeed determine the leadership of this country. Not just in terms of governance, but also leadership in this country in every sector that contributes to the progress of the country. So help us God. And so once again, Eric, thank you so much for being on set. Florence, thank you so much for being on set. We shall continue this discussion. Someday we shall call you back to see whether we're on course or whether we have all gone to sleep.
Yeah.
And someday we shall rejoice because we will say we have come from a long way and we have done it. Our train perhaps has come to a stop at its final destination. So we thank you all. Thank you so much for having been part of the show. Be with us next week as we continue our discussion on moving forward for a greater Nigeria, on reconstructing our country. We thank you. See you next week.